Hello and welcome to JamboFANTV. It's the Hibs Hearts preview. We've got Gordon and Scott with us, and I really didn't want to be doing this one. I thought we'd have had this one away in the bag, but unfortunately we've got to go over to Hibs and beat them over there. On the Twitter page, we put a poll out to see whether you wanted changes in the side from the last match, and I think it was around about 85% were saying that changes needed to be made for this game. Scott, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they're pretty much bang on. I think most important thing about tomorrow, there's been a lot of chat about, the pitch and the fact that that's going to suit us, but regardless of the quality of the pitch, we need to be winning those 50-50 battles, sort of one-on-one in the first 20 minutes, sort of allow us to then try and play a bit of football. So I would actually pack the midfield, but make sure that the midfield's got enough flexibility to allow support for the lone front man. So I would definitely play with Juman, sort of Cowie, Walker, Kitchen and Julius. I would just have Walker and Cowie playing as inverted sort of wingers that would like to cut in and play June sort of furthest forward just off of Galvez. It seemed to be an area of the park that he seemed to be suited to when he was playing there with Johnson earlier on in the season. So that's kind of the main changes I would make compared to Saturday.
You any different thoughts to that, Gordon, or are you about the same?
No, I actually must confess, when I put my team up on Twitter, I totally forgot about Cowie. Yes, they say he's an underrated player, he certainly is. I totally forgot about him. Basically the same team as Scott there, but the flexible front four, like there's Nicholson, June, Walker supporting Goncalves, and hoping that we could press June onto Bartley, have Giolis and Kitchen bullying, hopefully Five and McGinn, and maybe give the more creative players a bit of room to play. Definitely,
I'm more than happy with Scott's side. In terms of sort of the way that they play, though, I'd like to see us stretch the game. It's a perfect pitch, better than the one that's been or has been played on. It's being ripped up at the moment, isn't it? But in terms of stretching it, getting it out wide, distribution from the back. Now, on Twitter, again, I'll keep coming back to Twitter because you're talking to us a lot more about things. Goalkeeper, Gordon. Distribution could be better, do you think?
Yeah, I think Saturday was unfortunately up there with Jack's worst, actually, in his distribution. I've seen it talked about. I've never actually had a problem with him. I don't have a problem with him as a goalkeeper, as a shot stopper. I don't think there's many goalkeepers in the modern game deal with crosses that well, and everybody goes back to keepers no command in their area. It's probably a bit more difficult now. I don't know if it was than it used to be, but you go back to Craig Gordon. Craig Gordon, what a great goalkeeper he is or was for Hearts, and still is. People say his problem's no command in the area. I'd take him back in a minute, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm quite happy with Hamilton, although he was a bit ropey on Saturday, and unfortunately his first error occurred early doors, and it did seem to affect him for the remainder of the game. He wasn't confident looking at all, actually.
No, and I think we'll sort of go on to it because Scott made a point in another one of our shows about, I think, if somebody's having a poor game, goalkeepers, they make a mistake and it's highlighted straight away. There's no covering. But when, there was quite a few back passes, Scott, weren't there, that were putting him under pressure?
Yeah, I just think that when the centre halves are that experienced and when they know that the keeper's having a bit of a sort of nervous sort of appearance out there on the park, especially in front of such a big sort of home crowd, then for me, that's when you start playing a little bit of percentage football and you just decide, right, we'll knock balls in behind your back two. But let's be honest, without Hamlin, they're not going to be the paciest team with regards to their two centre-halves, Fontaine and McGregor. So why not just get them turning, get Goncalves putting a bit of exerted pressure on them and see if we can maybe win a bit of possession in their half, rather than play it back to Hamilton, who's really, his distribution's not brilliant at the best of times. But we just try and take that pressure from him and just let him worry about his shot stopping and his sort of making sure that he's commanding the area during those set plays.
Definitely, and I think in terms of commanding area, I've probably been a bit disrespectful to Hibs, but I just see them putting crosses into him. I can see them using bully boy tactics, basically, trying to make it difficult for him. And I'd just like to see people, defenders, helping him out. You know, basically stopping strikers getting in there on him and digging him in the ribs. In terms of formation, Gordon, how do you see us setting up?
It's the Hearts setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as we've touched on earlier, I'm looking at 4-2-3-1. I'm thinking he's not going to change the back four. I wouldn't have thought. And Zealous, a wee bit healthy Kitchen, could tighten things up in there. And like I say, Nicholson, June Walker supporting Goncalves. It could be Cowie instead of Nicholson. But yeah, I see 4-2-3-1 for us.
Yeah, I think the danger with the one though is the midfield are going to have to do a hell of a lot better than they did in the last match in terms of, like you said, protecting defenders and linking up with the forward. What do you think of that, Scott? How do you see them setting up?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because I feel like I'm focusing on what Hearts can do to hurt Hibs, and if I'm being honest, there's two ways in which Hibs could approach this game. They could either approach it the same way they have done the last time, which I think they will do, but in a lot of home games this season, albeit against poorer opposition, they have went with a sort of 4-3-3 formation with Boyle and Humphreys kind of providing those sort of outlets on both wings and playing Cummins through the middle on his own. So it'll be interesting to see how they set up, if they decide they're going to have a go, or if they're wanting it to be a bit of a scrap like last time and they play guys like Holton, maybe Keaton's on those set pieces again. So I think really for Hearts, just concentrate for their own game, play 4-2-3-1, and I'm sure with guys like Walker and Jude on the side, I'm sure Cowboys would get enough support, and with it being a better park, I'd imagine Schooner and Sewell might get more time in the opposition half as well to try and stretch the game a little bit.
Definitely. Well, you brought it up in terms of Hibs. I mean, I'll give my opinion. I can see them doing exactly the same because I think they haven't got a lot more to offer. I was really surprised at our performance against them last time. But what options have they got, Gordon, in terms of setting up? I can just see them playing it exactly the same. They've had two bad results recently, dropping points. What do you think?
Well, I was totally guessing at Hibs' team earlier on today. I don't think they'll change their back four either, or what the back four that finished the game last Sunday. I don't think they've got much choice. Marciano, Gray, Fontaine, McGregor and Stevenson. I definitely think they'll stick with Bartley sitting in front of them. Fivey and McGinn will probably play. The only change I thought they might make was I thought they might leave Keaton's out and maybe try and attack us a bit more with Humphrey. I can't see Holt being left out because he's clearly up for the physical battle, which there is inevitably going to be at the start of the game tomorrow night. So that's all I could see. I thought they might attack us a wee bit more with Humphrey on the wing and try to get the ball into Cummins early.
Yeah, I think Holt is going to be massive for him. Like I said on the last one, he was going around giving it out to people verbally. He was in people's ears. The arms were flailing. I'll give him his due though for a fat lad. He ran a lot. Scott, what do you think? How will they set up?
Yeah, I would probably agree with Gordon. I think if they are going to make a change, it could be that they go to a more standard 4-4-2 rather than having that diamond formation that they had the last time. Keaton's playing at the tip of that. They might just decide to play Humphrey, and they've played McGinn out left quite a bit. And normally they have sort of Stevenson playing as a sort of wing back anyway, so they might allow McGinn to just shuffle in and play as a kind of midfield free up against Kitchen and Julie. So I think if they do change it from the last game, that would be the sort of area that I would expect them to do it. If they decided to be brave, then they might go 4-3-3 and just play Boyle and Humphrey. But like you say, Holt would be quite useful, not just in terms of his experience, but also the fact he'd be quite handy at the set plays as well, attacking and defensively. So I think Gordon's pretty much spot on with what he's mentioned there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. There's not a lot more we can say. I don't know about you lads. I know I'm nervous about it. I'm not really. I'm not as confident as I would like to be. We're going to go on to scores in a minute, so I'll give you a chance to think about your scores. Just before we do, again, thanks very much for everyone subscribing. Those subscriptions are going up. We recently did an interview with Anthony MacDonald. I'll tell you his score. He actually came up with 2-0. That's what he was saying. But that's going to be out on Tuesday night. So if you could give that a view and retweet it or subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. Go on, Gordon. I'll give you an opportunity to think about your score. What are you going? You're going, aren't you? So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking 1-0 Hearts. I'm thinking Jume's going to get the goal because I've talked him up and up and up every time I've been on here for the last 3 or 4 shows. So yeah, Jume's my man. 1-0.
Jume's your man. And Scott?
I'm going to say 2-0 Hearts. I'm going to say Goncalves with the first goal, and then I've got a sneaky feeling we'll get a goal for a set play later on, maybe in the second half, to try and finish the game off. But I think it's going to be a difficult match. They really are going to have to battle that first 15-20 minutes to sort of earn the right to play any sort of football. So, you know, it's all going to depend on how they start the game. And as we've touched on, you know, through the majority of our shows so far over the last week or two, it's going to be about tempo. So whether that's being aggressive and winning the ball, or whether sort of, you know, in possession, they're going to have to make sure that the tempo is raised compared to the last couple of matches. But again, hopefully the pitch will help with that.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more, Scott. I think it's going to be definitely down to tempo. I think we need to get out there and hit the ground running. I think Hearts need to be in the faces, but you know, I said it before. Cream rises, and you know they're a championship side struggling to get over the line for promotion. We're up there, and we need to be able to, you know, command the play. We've got the players to be able to do it. I said I weren't that confident, but I'm going for 2-0, and I think we'll get a goal either half. But yeah, that's what I'm going for. But Gordon, I'd take 1-0 all day long just to get through it.
Me too, mate.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you so much. It's going to be you two lads, and I'm up front. I'm going to be staying in England. I'm not coming up for the game. I'm going to try and get on somewhere to view it. The next show is going to be hosted by Scott, who's going to be setting the questions. And if I can get viewing, maybe they'll invite me on. You never know. So thank you so much, and we'll speak again soon.